broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. Thank you for joining us on episode 87 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom. I'm here with Trevor and Damon as usual. How's it going, guys?
Hot.
Still hot.
But it's good. But it's the middle of the day. Like, this is great. Like, I'm not tired, right? It's nice. I mean, there's no kids' sports. That's how this works right now. We'll have to see how it works when there's kids' sports. But for right now, this is wonderful.
Yeah. Well, for Trevor, it's, in the morning. I'm sure Trevor's got some, got some coffee or...
Is it that bad? Because you knock it out, right, Trevor? Like...
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't mind this time. I slept in a little bit and I kind of got up, got breakfast, and here I am.
Ready to go.
I wish I could sleep in. I think 7 o'clock. Yeah, 7 o'clock is like the end. I mean, even if I stay up later, I can't. I got to take care of the dog, like all that stuff. So my dog doesn't sleep in.
Well, and I have a 2-year-old, and she wakes us up at 6:30 every morning usually. So I don't really have a choice.
See, I make the kid take care of the dog because he's up before I am. So if he gets up before me, I say, go let the dog out.
I think if we had a fence, it would be easier. But since we don't yet, because we have so much construction still going on, like once the construction's done, we get a fence, so maybe I'll be able to pull that off. But my kids sleep till like 2 o'clock. So,
it's teenagers, right? So I did that too.
I mean, there was one day they slept till 3 o'clock. I'm like, are you guys okay? Like, it's 3 o'clock. And they're like, well, yeah, I mean, we went to bed at 6. So,
oh, that brings me back. That's how I used to be too.
So this is we have a show announcement, huh?
We do, and I put in we posted this on our Facebook page, and I found a lot of the guesses to be kind of funny. So I thought it'd be funny if we went through the guesses before we did the show announcement.
All right, well, a fair amount of them are.
We don't have to do
me.
all of them.
No, I can go through them because they're about me. I mean, of course, I want to talk about them.
A lot of them are Damon oriented. Yeah.
I bought another ice machine. No, and that's from Joe. I don't know. I mean, I love it. The only thing I would say is, again, I had to cut down people's use of it in the house because they were using it too much. And it was running 24/7 and the kitchen was 900 degrees. So, I mean, another one would probably be smart, but no, I did not do that. You're going to finally see me. No, there's nothing exciting about that anyway.
It is funny that there were at least several comments that saying we're finally going to see Damon. It's like,
why? I mean, it's not like there hasn't been people that I've met. So, I mean, if you're so inclined to meet me at Disney, sure, plan a trip around it. Then you can hang out with us.
We will do a meetup eventually. So,
let's see, hats for all the listeners. No, the problem with that one, Rob, is it's too expensive. We don't make that amount of scratch to be giving hats out for everybody. Sorry. And we have a lot of listeners too. I mean, gosh, could you imagine? I mean, that would be really rough. It might be tens of thousands of dollars. No,
it would be 6 months of sending stuff out.
Yeah,
I don't have time to do that. To send out that many packages.
Wait, I'm going to go through the rest of mine then, and then Tom, you can talk about the rest of them. Let's see. I bought a Riviera contract from Mike. I mean, that's not a show announcement. I mean, that's a possibility. And at least I'll talk more about that and the thing that I added in next. Haunted River Country. Gosh, if only, right? That's from Dan. That would be wonderful. We are finally revealing the true identity of Jeffrey. This is from Chris. He is, in fact, Bill Cipher. That's funny, right? And he's been predicting this plot twist since last season's finale. That one's pretty good. Katie said Jeffrey's getting married, possibly to the redhead from Pirates of the Caribbean. That's also a good one. Let's see. So the website one, Sarah said, my persistence one. Tom actually handed in the stuff for the website. Now I've just been kind of BSing. So it's funny. I was supposed to fix the Boomtron podcast website, and then somebody else did it for me. And that kind of took the wind out of my sails because I was like, oh, okay. I was going to do them both together. And then I was like, oh, one's already done and I didn't have to do anything. Okay. Back burner. So.
So somebody else just has to do it for you, and then we'll be in good shape.
I have to say, Boomtron having a graphic designer is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Because you go do something on the website and you're like, oh, that just doesn't look right, but let me squish it in there anyway. And a graphic designer goes, oh, that doesn't look right. Let me draw a whole new picture for that area. And you go, oh, you're right. That works out really well.
We could use one of those.
Yeah, we could. I mean, we would even pay Keep that in mind. I don't think we pay a lot. I mean, let's not get crazy, but we would pay. We would pay. We're paying people.
Yeah, exactly. So some of the other ones we had on here, Jeremy said Tom's leading a listener meetup ride on Space Mountain. I mean, that is going to happen. I said the next trip, whoever wants to go. I mean, you can do that together. So
he didn't say that Tom would be on it. I mean, leading could be walking up to the queue, right?
That's true. That's true. Barry also said you all are finally going to meet each other in person. That's going to happen in the future, but that's not the announcement either. Amazingly, only one person got it right. I'm shocked by this. And that was Adam who got it right. And this is something we have been, I mean, how long have we been asked for this to happen? Since the beginning?
I think a while. I think that the being home a lot more. And again, selfishly, I've been leading, listen, I think this was Tom and Trevor's idea in the beginning, and I didn't want to, but I'm definitely been leading the charge lately because I've kind of felt like the longer episodes are what's getting me, like, or what's like kind of making me tired. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter what you're talking about in general. Podcasting for 2 hours is a lot.
It is.
It is. Yeah.
Good. More chipper.
Yeah. And so, yeah, in case you guys haven't figured it out, yeah, we are switching to weekly. And I guess the only thing to keep in mind with this is, be patient with us. We're going to be figuring this out because obviously, it does change our format a little bit. I don't think it'll be bad, but I think we just have to kind of find our new pace again, which, yeah, like Damon said, I think it's good to change it up. And
I like his other guests though too, because I would do that too.
well, and the interesting thing about us switching to weekly is that means we're not all going to be available every week, so that there is going to be more guest hosts that come on, and so Adam mentions bringing Ziggy on as a fourth co-host, not necessarily as a fourth co-host, but he could definitely be a fill-in when one of us can't join on a particular week. So,
and I think we've also found a few people through the podcast, that are interesting to jump in. Like I would say that Katie, now that she also has 2 of her own podcasts and the third one that I do with her, as well, she's kind of used to it and it's easier to grab people that are used to the podcasting in general.
Absolutely. So. I think this opens us up too to have the occasional listener on, and then also bring on some of our other friends from other podcasts too that maybe we haven't brought on before. So I think this is going to be interesting for us too, because this is going to allow us to talk about things more quickly after they happen, as opposed to, something can happen the day after our podcast comes out that's huge, and then we don't talk about it for 2 weeks, So this allows us to be a little more, I guess, nimble. And, the podcasts are going to be shorter. We're going to try to keep it to under an hour, anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. So they're going to be a little bit more bite-sized and, obviously smaller files for those of you downloading us. So those are some things that are going to change. We're going to try to keep it a little bit tighter. Like I said, try.
We're also going to record during the day rather than at night where, that everyone gets mad that I'm tired, but like, I can't get any respect on that. Like, man, have 3 kids that are all in travel sports that you have to drive everywhere. It's tiring. All right. So listen, we're going to pace this one and we'll see how it works out. But this is one thing I wanted to talk about. So I finally canceled my vacation. And while I thought I was going to have 40 points that I was going to have to eat or RCI, I was wrong. Because again, I don't really handle that. My wife does. We had 109 points.
Ooh.
And again, I'm still like, for all those people, like, I bet Damon's mad now. No, I don't care, right? It still doesn't matter to me. Cause I said to my wife, I go, well, what does that mean? Like, oh my goodness, we can't borrow for next year. She's like, we're still fine. Like, we can still do a 2-bedroom next year if we want. But
so you can't bank those points? Those are points that are not bankable?
Those are unbankable. Yeah.
Okay. Those are ones from what, last year, I guess?
I guess I don't, like I said, I don't follow that. My wife does, but that's what I was told. And she's in quarantine again since she traveled to California. So I haven't even seen her for a while. She just did this while she was in quarantine. But what the interesting bit is that, and I have to try to remember this correctly, or maybe you guys know already, when you do your points to conversion to RCI, it's in groups of 10. So what I found interesting is that, we were at 109 and the DVC rep was like, look, take a point, to take one single point from, your upcoming, points, and then that way you'll hit that 10, because 109 is like the worst spot to be in, right? Like,
yeah, exactly, because you'd lose 9 points at that point, right? So,
exactly. So we did the 110, and I think my wife said it translated. I mean, because there's a lot of places that we go, right, outside of Disney. So this was one that we're probably going to use these points for Dollywood, or somewhere like that. I mean, we could use them on our trip going cross country, but I just don't feel like, I think that's going to be harder to do than using them at Dollywood. So I think that's our plan at this point. She said there's a few different spots we could use our RCI points at Dollywood. So
now,
I've officially canceled.
So question for you. So when you transferred to RCI, do they...
you're asking the wrong person, but also let me see if I have an answer for you.
Do you know if they have like an expiry time on the points?
They do, but so again, I don't know the exact answer to that. I believe that they do, but it's way further in advance than I'm going to need.
All right. Yeah, I was just wondering how, like, because I guess I looked at RCI and I didn't bother because I only ended up with 30 points, which isn't enough. Like, for the amount of points that it takes to book something through RCI, it really wasn't doable, at least around here. So, yeah, but I was just curious about, if banking them, if you could hold on to them long enough that, possibly justify having some points.
I think it's way longer than you would think, right?
Okay.
Like, I think it's in the years. You know what I mean? So I don't think I'm necessarily going to have a problem with it, which is why I did it. And like I said, because we already kind of know where we'll be using them, it's not so bad. I mean, again, would I rather have gone to Disney? Sure. Right. I was kind of looking forward to this one. I think our friends that we go with, it's her 50th anniversary. I mean, her 50th anniversary, her 50th birthday. I guess it's her birth anniversary. And, it's a little disappointing for her, I'm sure, but I just couldn't do it. Like, I started to see some of those pictures with the amount of people in Magic Kingdom and Disney Springs, because I was kind of like, oh, well, I'll go and just kind of chill out at Disney Springs. Like, nope. That's almost worse than the parks at this point. Listen, and I'm just making assumptions based on the pictures that I see on the internet, but I wasn't going to do it.
Yeah, it's fair.
And this helps me because, again, we'll just book it for next year. We'll still do a 2-bedroom next year. And kind of what I said to my wife is that this is the perfect opportunity. If we come up short next year for what we want to book, because, right, there's that borrowing issue, I'll just buy a contract. Right? Like, I mean, that's one way around it, right? I'll just buy a contract. So that's why I'm not too worried.
I actually just tried to look this up because I didn't know off the top of my head how long they last in RCI, but I can't seem to find the answer. So it's a lot harder to find out than I thought it would be.
I think that's why I asked the question, because I was looking at it and I couldn't find an easy answer to it either. So I guess maybe this is one to throw out to our listeners as well. If anybody knows the exact terms around how long points last in RCI, it'd be good to know.
Yeah, I mean, I've never had to convert them into RCI. Some of these DVC things you just don't even think about until you actually have to do it, right? Yeah. It's like, why would I know how long they're good for in RCI? I don't know. I mean, I don't need to know that information.
So this is what some very preliminary looking like is you get them for a year and then you can pay a couple bucks, like, and it's a small number to carry them over for another year or something along those lines.
Yeah. Interesting.
Like, it's like less and again, I don't know how recent this is, but it looks like it's like less than $50.
Okay.
So you can choose to extend them into a third year. So it looks like you can do them for at least 3 years, and maybe that would cost you a couple bucks. So I'm going to have to, like, my wife's going to have to, like, sign in and register and figure all that out. But again, me, if I lost 100 points, I'm going to go with the same thing I said before. I don't care. I really don't. As long as Katie's sending me a welded plaque, I consider that a win.
A welded plaque? What?
Yeah, she's a welder.
Oh, welded. I thought you were saying like welded, like instead of well done. I was like, what are you saying? It's so weird.
A fancy metal plaque.
A fancy metal plaque is right. I will definitely take that for 109 points any day of the week.
That's. I mean, it's sad you had to cancel your trip, but at least you got to save the points in RCI. And like you said, you travel anyway, so you'll use them.
Yeah, I'll definitely use them. And again, if this forces me into another contract, is that necessarily a bad thing?
Not necessarily, no. I mean, I got an email about, well, I think we talked an episode or two ago about the incentives they're offering right now, like up to $3,500.
Don't rehash old stuff, Tom.
I'm not rehashing.
People don't want to listen.
Saying they got some good deals right now. That's all. On direct purchases. So no, thanks for your experience on that. I think that's good to know. And for, I'm sure that's a topic that's come up with a lot of people lately. So
Tom has a lot of listener questions. This is where we spend a bulk of our time. Tom, you have to do better at picking these. While we love everyone, we can't do everything.
We'll do better. I see some of these as pretty quick. So
why is Damon so excited for Luca?
Yeah, why are you so excited for Luca, Damon?
Gosh, I mean, that could be its own show at this point. I mean, how can you not be, right? It's the motherland, of course, right? The motherland
Should we explain what Luca is if not everybody knows what that
Yeah.
announcement was?
Time out. What's Luca?
See, Trevor didn't know.
Well, go ahead, Tom.
Oh, okay. Well, I believe is it a Pixar or is it Disney Animation? I think it's the new Pixar, right?
You would think for all the preparing he does, like he'd have a little snippet about what it is under there.
I thought Soul was the new Pixar movie.
This is next year.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, Tom. It's on you.
What's the premise?
It's Pixar.
It's the
new Pixar movie. It takes place in like the Italian Riviera and
the motherland.
As Damon says, the motherland. So go ahead, you explain why you're excited about it. I don't know any details other than that because all they really said is it's like a kid going on an adventure. It's very kind of vague, right? It's an unforgettable summer in a seaside town in the Italian Riviera. That's it.
I mean, that's awesome, right? Like I don't know how else I can kind of explain that, right? So it's. All right, so I'll give you a little bit more. So it's on the Italian Riviera. So Luca centers on a young boy, right, who's living in the Italian Riviera, who has all these new adventures with a newfound best friend, but a dark secret about his true identity, right? So he's a sea monster or something, I think? I don't know.
Is that what you're speculating, or are you just...
That's what I'm reading. That's what I'm reading.
My head, it sounded like you were describing, like, Assassin's Creed. If you've ever played Assassin's Creed, the game.
I don't know. I just, like I said, I like that it's in the Italian Riviera, right? That's the motherland. It's about a boy, right? I used to be a boy, right? And I used to have a best friend. And, right? It sounds kind of cool. I don't know what else to say.
It's a very relatable story.
Yes, that's very relatable. I like that somebody speculated on the Facebook group that this was just a ploy for them to sell more Riviera contracts, which
it might be. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that's far-fetched.
I don't think I think it's more the other. I think it's not necessarily that way, but I do think that they plan these things to integrate them sometimes, or maybe they came up with the idea while they were designing the resort. I don't know, but it'd be interesting as some of the visuals from this movie make it into the Riviera Resort at some point. So,
or vice versa.
Oh yeah, that's true too.
Yeah,
little Easter egg of the Riviera Resort.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so Chris asks, I don't think I ever heard you all discuss the process of combining points with someone else's for a joint stay. I heard that it's possible, but I have no clue how to accomplish it. So I've done this before. In fact, my last trip in October, I did this. We got points from friends of ours, and it's a pretty easy process, but you do have to call in. You can't do it online. So it's something you do have to call for. It's a final transaction too. It's, they're transferring points from one contract to another. So, make sure you're going to actually take the trip. And then, it has to go to one person, right? So like one person's going to have to make the reservation for, everybody, if you're going to stay in the same room on everybody's points. Otherwise you'll do separate reservations with each other's points, but I mean, with your own points. But in this case, if you want to do one big room and combine your points, you have to do a transfer to one of the contracts. And then at that point, you have to book it from that contract and go with that. So it's really not difficult. It's pretty straightforward. It's just a phone call to member services and it works out pretty easily. So, he also asked,
hold on. So he asked a question about Gravity Falls, and I know Gravity Falls has been out for a long time, but I feel that the question it spoils some things later in the show.
So we should skip.
Dude,
skip it?
Spoilers only last for like 3 months.
Okay, fair, but I think it's a pretty big plot point that he's talking about. All right, whatever. I mean, I don't like spoiling it for people, but whatever.
I mean, I'm usually on your side, Trevor, but like if you were to say we're going to spoil Mandalorian, that's a different story. But like,
Sure.
man,
Well,
if people have been watching this, listen to our show for this long, they should have already watched it. Or sorry,
I guess because by season 2, was it season 2 is when they start hinting at it? Because okay, so the question was around. So Grunkle Stan has there's an episode where he has the wax museum figures, and there's a wax Stan figure, and Chris is asking, do you think that it was just about Stan's narcissism towards wax Stan, or was it that this funeral was symbolically some kind of closure for losing his twin?
We're getting deep.
I mean, that's a good point. Like I never really thought of it that way, because Stan never shows his emotions until later about his brother. I feel it's just about his narcissism, because just the way Stan's character is, I think that the fact that it was a wax figure of him, I think it was entirely about himself and not his brother.
I agree. I think I'm on your side, Trevor. I think that's the exact thing. I didn't think anything more of it than that. Damon, do you have thoughts about Gravity?
No
I know
comment.
it's like your
I
favorite
don't.
show. Okay. Moving on. So we've got Dan had a couple questions. Mandalorian Emmy thoughts. It got nominated for a lot of.
no, it shouldn't be. Sorry.
It shouldn't be. Well, a lot of them were
It's a
technical
good
ones.
show, but it's not look, it's a good show, and visually it's a good show, and the world is a great world to be in, but no.
I mean, I think most of them, I think they only got nominated for like the overall show was nominated for, I think, best drama, and then one of the actors, or like best voice acting. But then I think the rest of them were like all special effects and editing.
And that's
all
fine. Like, I'll give you that. Like, special effects stuff, absolutely. I mean, listen, it's a great show. Let me temper that back. So, it's a really good show, but there's too much in the show that's kind of just like, meh. It's good, but Emmy isn't like, again, the nostalgia of Star Wars can't factor into Emmy thoughts, in my opinion.
I think you're right. For as much as, you know, we're all invested in Star Wars on some level, you know, a show doesn't have to be, or getting an Emmy doesn't define whether the show is good or not. The show can be good regardless of that. And yeah, not every show should be awarded an Emmy, I guess, even in the Star Wars universe.
Well, the movies themselves were they were nominated for technical stuff, but
Sure.
I mean, they were never like best picture or like.
And I'll give you Mandalorian in terms of technically, you know, it looks good, right? It definitely looks good, but that's all I can give it. I mean, the story's fun, right? That's where I kind of go with it. The story's fun, but it's not like The Wire, right?
No,
I mean, Wire is groundbreaking. Why is this groundbreaking? Because it's a Star Wars story? Because take Star Wars out of it. Is it groundbreaking?
I mean, some of the technical stuff is
Sure, but we're past the
again,
technical stuff.
Yeah,
We're already
story-wise, there's nothing.
No.
Yeah,
I don't.
there's nothing revolutionary there.
I don't disagree with that. I'm more thinking of, you know, what they got nominated for, which is
yes, and I'll give you the technical stuff without a doubt. Right?
yeah,
And I
because
have to
they
say-
did something.
Wait,
Yeah,
and does do I get to hold more weight on this since I do is a good plug for my other podcast, even though it's not Netflix? Like,
sure. Yeah.
come listen to me talk television and movies over at Boomtron Podcast for Netflix stuff. I mean,
There you go.
kinda. I mean, I guess if you want to talk about Mandalorian stuff, Katie's got what's hers called? It's like Disney Roulette or something.
Yeah,
Disney Plus
like,
Roulette, I think.
She has like a random thing.
Yeah,
like,
but we kind of chatted before she ran the show. I think she's doing some news stuff too with it. So she might be a good person to ask.
All right. Well, we'll go check out her show. Maybe she'll talk about that. All right. So, Dan, go ahead, Trevor.
Oh, sorry. I thought, Dan also asked about the Rise of the Resistance virtual queue looks like Max Pass from Disneyland. Will that be coming to Florida? I don't see. I mean, if it does, it's not going to be a quick changeover. I think Rise of the Resistance is still testing a lot of things for them. I think that's really what it is. It's become their beta test area for different types of queuing.
And I just don't think we're going to know based on what's going on in the world yet, right?
Yeah.
A lot of this is, what they do now does not necessarily dictate the future. It's just kind of getting by almost, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I see like the fact that they keep changing it, like they've changed the booking times for Rise of the Resistance and stuff. They haven't settled on one thing. Like I think what everyone's looking for is that they've decided on a new way of doing it and that it's going to hit everywhere. But yeah, they're still figuring out what works best at this point. And like Damon said, it's going to be a while, I think, before we see anything concrete with them changing Fast Pass or Max Pass systems.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. I think it's a decent thing to believe in because you now have, the person who really, I don't want to say pioneered Max Pass, but that was in charge of Disneyland when Max Pass was really rolled out, is now head of Disney Parks overall. So you could imagine where he's gonna, try to expand that to the other parks possibly, but we really don't know. Like you guys are saying, they're in survival mode right now. They're doing whatever's going to try to work the best or whatever's going to be, something they can use. And in this case, I think it's interesting that they're trying it out, but you're right too, Trevor. It's really like their beta test for everything. It's like they can try different things out with this ride. Different ways for people to come back. The whole virtual queue really originated there at Disney. So it's they're trying different things. That's what it comes down to. Who knows if that's going to be permanent or not? I think the only constant at Disney is change, right? So just because it's happening now doesn't mean it won't in the future. He also asked too, with more resorts opening, will that mean higher attendance? I'm going to say no, because even with the resorts opening, you're still talking like there's only a small amount of, actual capacity there. Although I have read some things saying that there was some availability still for park reservations on certain days. So I think that's going to fill up the rest of the even small capacity that they have. So
yeah, and I think that there'll be people that will stay at the resort just to stay at the resort, not necessarily going to the parks.
Yeah, I agree.
So what we're going to do in terms of timing now, right? Again, these transitions always aren't going to be smooth, especially as we start. Let's answer the next ones in our patented quick style.
Do we want to quickly do our ad for DVC Rental Store, and then we'll get back to that really quick?
Let's finish these first.
Finish these first.
Well, I love DVC Rental Stores. Let's get these done.
All right.
Don't midsection us here. Gosh,
Okay, well, Chris asked about the Disney DVC Resort. I think we've talked about this a bunch on the past couple shows, and we did ask. I think the last time that Derek was here, we asked what we thought the price point was going to be, and he didn't think it was going to be all that much more outrageous than it was going to be whatever the standard price point is for direct DVC resorts at that point.
Sure, but the question is how excited. I mean, for me, it's not necessarily an excitement because it's not going to impact me too much.
For me, I'm already planning to buy a contract, so I'm just waiting for them to announce things.
Yep.
And I'm excited for it just because I want to visit Disneyland, and I'd like to say DVC when I do so. So it would be nice to have an option.
All right. So Vanessa, if you could fly your family of 4, mom, dad, and 2 teenagers to Long Beach, California for $44, stay in a 2-bedroom suite, only a quarter mile from Disneyland this August, would you do it? No. California's bad, and no, I wouldn't, but that's just my opinion. I don't think we need to get any more into it than that for me.
For me, just traveling anywhere outside of Canada right now just doesn't work. I even for that cheap, I couldn't justify it.
Yeah, I'm also with you. And plus going out there, and when you could only do downtown Disney anyway, if that's what you were going for, specifically going for Disney and only wanting to do downtown Disney, that just doesn't appeal to me. I wouldn't drive all the way to Orlando just to go to Disney Springs. I don't go to Disney Springs when I'm at Disney. It just doesn't interest me. So
I love Disney Springs, but then anyway. All right. So there's
I'm not
Tom's
a big
answer.
shopper. I'm not a shopper, so
I'm an eater though. So
I do like food. Yeah, I do like the food part of it.
So Dan said his son is 15 and wants to have a girl over for the first time next week. I don't know if this is a Disney question.
It's not.
Wife is a little nervous about this, and I'm fine with it. Any thoughts how we should handle this? So again, the only thing that I can tell you is my son, who's 16, who has a girlfriend, a new girlfriend, right? A pandemic girlfriend at this point, right? We allow them to go to the park and walk around with masks on. That's it. I am not bringing anyone into my house at this point. That there's no way. I'm just not doing it. So that's, again, for puppy love. And again, at 16, it's still puppy love for me, right? They can go to the park with masks on and walk and chit chat. And there's no kissing and there's no hand holding. That's what I told them. I mean, that's life at this point. Sorry to say.
I've got no thoughts on this, as my daughter's only 2, so I don't have any thoughts on it for now. But I like our new segment, life advice.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry, Trevor.
I was going to say, I can't comment on this as a parent. I know that when I was around that age, my parents didn't really intervene with me when I had my first girlfriend, but yeah, well, I guess that's not fair because she became my wife. But
there's also a pandemic going on.
Yeah,
as well.
There's that.
Yeah, it's different, right? You have to keep that in mind that, you can't have the same interactions even for, like you said, puppy love. Yeah, I think the mask would definitely be a mandatory thing.
Think about it. Masks at the park. You get your alone time. You got masks on, and that's that.
Yeah. There you go.
So now we can do the ad, Tom.
Okay. This is DVC Rental Store. This is our friends over at DVC Rental Store. Are you a frequent Disney visitor and want to save hundreds, even thousands on your next Disney trip? The DVC Rental Store wants to help you book your dream vacation for less. DVC members, great news for you too. Want to rent your points out for some quick cash? DVC Rental Store wants to work with you, and they're currently renting out points at a record pace. For years, the DVC Rental Store has been helping guests stay at Disney Deluxe resorts at an affordable price, while also paying members the highest price for their points. Want to learn more? Go to dvcrentalstore.com or call 1-855-DVC-RENT. That's 1-855-382-7368. Let them know that Welcome Home sent you. That's very important that you let them know that you heard about them from this show. Lets them know that their ad is in a good place on our show, and also lets us know that you guys are working with our partners and supporting the people that support us. So again, that's dvcrentalstore.com or 1-855-DVC-RENT.
I think this is just such a great way to get your introduction to DVC.
Oh, totally.
So
yeah, good.
If you're on the fence, it's a good thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have some listeners that have been, they've been asking us about they're not sure about buying DVC. Rent some points. Seriously, like I think there's probably more points available now than there has been for a while.
Sure.
And, obviously plan accordingly for, your situation and the situation down there. But I wish that I had rented before I bought DVC, but by the time I was looking at buying DVC, I was so far down the road where I'd pretty much already decided I was doing it. But if I had really thought about it ahead of time, I should have done a rental first.
Well, I think I told you guys this before, that before I bought DVC, and even a little bit after, I didn't even know that rental or resale was a thing. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing you could do, So I think it's good to know that that's something you can do. If you're not a DVC member, you want to try out a DVC resort, that you can rent points for members and check it out yourself. And, that also...
Or if you need money and you don't want to sell your contract, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Especially, right now for anybody that's having financial hardship, instead of selling your contract, rent out the points and that'll pay for your dues and, maybe even a little bit more than that. So that's an option too, if you don't want to sell your contract. So,
yep.
Yeah.
All right. We should probably keep this moving.
This is going to be so hard for us because we're not used to being brief. We're used to just kind of talking. And
okay. So,
our first episode though was only like 50 minutes. So it's, we can do it. It's possible.
So the DVC news portion though is going to be incredibly short because so Disney announced the limited time 30% merchandise discount for members now through August 14th, 2020. This does not cool, but what am I going to do with this?
Well, it's just good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess my only
Tom
thought
can
on
get
that
his cookie jar now.
Yeah. They need to do something on Shop Disney. Like, I get that they're using it as a way to draw people there, but, throw us a bone every once in a while and give
another
us a
10% doesn't. Yeah, another 10% doesn't draw me to Disney.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna drive all the way down to Disney Springs just to go buy some stuff. Just because
I
get
guess
an
it's a
extra
little bit of a
off.
reward for the people that are going.
Yeah,
I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I know that there was some DVC members mad too that pass holders were getting it and members were not. Because there are a lot of members that feel like if there's like a weird pull between pass holders and DVC members. Like, why did the pass holder get that? And then pass holders be like, why did DVC members get that? There's always like each side thinks they're entitled to what the other side has.
And it's so interesting because if I'd lived in Florida, I would be a pass holder and I probably wouldn't own DVC.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Trevor.
That makes sense. I mean, why would you be paying for a DVC contract when you can
go home?
Yeah.
Well, there's definitely some overlap though too with the, obviously me, I'm overlap. I'm both. I've got, got a pass I got a pass and then I'm also a DVC member, and there's, a lot of that overlap too. But, I understand why people get upset about it, but it's a good benefit. That's a nice thing. So anyway, we talked already a little bit about these changes that Rise of the Resistance, but we could talk even a little bit more about them. So they reduced the booking windows to 2. So now if we started out originally, if you guys remember correctly, when the ride first still opened, it was just show up at opening, and once the park opened, everybody did a mad dash to get into the boarding groups. A lot of people didn't like that, so now when they reopened, they made it 3 different time periods. It was 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Now they've moved it from 3 to 2. So now it's only 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. that you can do it. So, which is, I don't know why they keep changing it. It seems like they put something out about it because of capacity issues. And I have seen that they're only allowing one party per car, I guess you would call it, ride vehicle. There you go, ride vehicle. And so that really reduces the capacity by quite a bit. When you have like one person sitting, there are some times where they have just one person sitting in a vehicle. So that doesn't exactly help with the amount of people that can get on the thing.
Yeah. And so I'm a little, what's this part about the view entry code thing? It sounds like they put in extra steps to actually get into the boarding group. Like it's not just a matter of
this is after you get called. This is after you get called. I get it. Yeah, this is the Max Pass type of thing that they were talking about.
Got it.
Where when you get called now, instead of going over and scanning your Magic Band, it pulls up like the barcode that they would I guess would scan when you get there.
So they're assuming that everybody has phones that is using Rise of the Resistance.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, guess you kind. I mean, I don't want to say you have to get into the queue because they do have cast members there that can help you get into the queue if you don't have a phone, right? So, because they're not expecting everybody to, but you kind of need to for this experience, right? You just kind of do. So, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting just looking at this because we heard the news a couple episodes ago, right, where we talked about how they're getting rid of the free Magic Bands for resort guests. And they're doing, a view entry code type of thing on your phone that's like Max Pass. It does feel like they're moving in that Max Pass direction where they're moving away from Magic Bands and My Disney Experience and Fast Pass and all that, and maybe moving to a different kind of system. But I don't know. It seems crazy to me that they would completely go away from Magic Bands. It seems like big business to them to do these Magic Bands, especially like the designs and everything they do. It's just weird to me. It's weird to me that they would move away from it.
There's no reason that both can't exist, though.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Is that I feel it's good. We're going to get a kind of a hybrid system, at least for a little while. Yeah. Is that they'll still have the Magic Bands, and that will still work the way that it always has. But I think they're going to give more phone options as we go along here, because I think that's the other side of it. Is I know there's some people that say, I don't want to wear a Magic Band, or why can't I just have this all on my phone? Yeah.
What about people like me that have a really bad phone?
Yeah. And I was going to say that unfortunately there's the other side of that. Like even same thing with, when I went with my parents on our last trip is that, my phone, I basically did everything because my phone worked. My parents have an older phone and, they're not, sorry, your parents, usually don't spend time upgrading their phones every 2 years or whatever. So
I don't even spend time upgrading my phone.
Yeah,
I have an iPhone 7 Plus.
Yeah, so
with the battery
is,
life at like 30%. See, this is the biggest problem that I have with stuff like this is that I don't want to have to upgrade my phone, but I'm kind of stuck because the battery life on my phone is so bad that, I mean, let's see. So it was at 100% charge when I woke up this morning. I've already had to charge it. It's 12 o'clock. Like, I couldn't get through it. I definitely couldn't get anywhere close through a day through Disney with my phone. And that's where I find it tough.
You could buy one of those Anchor 10,000 milliamp power packs.
I have those, but I don't want to hold them. Like,
so I mean,
I have
figure
that.
an extra brick just to keep your phone.
when you
charged.
walk it, like it flips in your, shorts and keeps hitting you in the leg. You end up with a bruise. Like, I don't need that.
That's funny. I did find it interesting that Disney Parks blog specifically said that because of the new safety measures and the physical distancing, that the extra space between groups and queues and on attraction vehicles makes it so that they can't accommodate as many people that they could before. So they're pretty much just straight out saying we can't fit as many people on this as we could before, and so
That makes sense.
It makes total sense, but it's not going to make people less mad about it, But I don't know. I just thought it was interesting they actually said that. Anyway,
I don't
have to worry about it. I'm going to get that new Oculus game, and then I'm going to have Disney in my house, and I'm not going to ever need to go again.
Right.
I like to go places. I don't want to just sit in my living room and get sprayed with spray bottles. I want to go somewhere and do a thing. So the other thing we have on here is reopening dates have been pushed back for some of the resorts. Looks like Polynesian, Art of Animation, Beach Club, and Boardwalk, they're all going to remain closed instead of reopening. I kind of just look at this as, I think Disney, scheduled their phase reopening, assuming that things were going to get better by this time and that their capacity would be able to go higher, and they just haven't. So because there's no point to opening these resorts if they can't have more people in the parks. So they're just not going to open them. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it costs money. You don't want to be opening places to lose money.
Exactly. And so just to clarify, for the Polynesian, is that just for regular bookings, or is that DVC as well? Because I thought...
DVC
yeah, sorry,
portion's
to say,
open.
yeah. So yeah,
portion's open.
So basically Polynesian has 3 buildings open, but the rest of the resort is closed, which... I guess anyone planning to stay there, that's not the worst thing in the world right now, but...
It's great if you're a DVC member. It's nice
Yeah,
to be right at the resort.
although I can imagine that like things like the quick service would probably be a little limited as well. So
yeah, I don't even know. Is like Ohana open? And like, I don't think Ohana's open.
I can't imagine it's open right now because, again,
think it is.
They need a certain amount of people in there to justify having it open.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and if you look at like Art of Animation is a huge resort, right? Gigantic resort. They just don't need that capacity right now. And then same thing with Beach Club and Boardwalk. I mean, they just, again, it's opening more resorts at a time where they can't have more people in the parks, and they're already, hitting the very low capacity numbers that they have in the parks right now. They really they can't open more resorts until, things get a little bit better. So it makes sense to me. I'm really upset about this next thing. I'm not going to lie. Really? I don't know if either one of you have been here, but
why?
What do you mean, why?
Wait, where are we? The Creamery?
Go ahead, Trevor.
So Ample Hills Creamery will no longer be operating at Walt Disney World locations. I've never been to Ample Hills Creamery.
Yeah, who cares?
And I guess I'm lactose intolerant, so...
Oh.
I mean, I like ice cream, but...
I like it too, it just doesn't like me.
No, but I mean, even liking ice cream, I don't care.
Oh man, this place was awesome. They did like ice cream flights. They had like a thing where you could, get a bunch of different flavors
But can't you do that at Beaches and Cream too?
I think you probably can. I've actually never been to Beaches and Cream.
Well, you can. So I was being facetious. Like, of course you can. So
I liked Ample Hills. I thought it was really good, and it was.
But
right
you just said the one thing that you haven't been to Beaches and Cream. So
I've meant to. It's just never.
If you've gone to both of them and then said you loved Ample Hills Creamery, okay, I might be able to listen to you, but I can't even listen to you. So.
Well, you haven't been to Ample Hills, so you can't tell me if it's better or not, right? So
it's not. But I know that in my heart. You know when you
mean,
just know things, Tom? In my heart, I know
I
things.
do. I know when you just know things. Ample Hills was really good. You guys should have gone. It's a great place. It was really cool on the boardwalk. It fit in really well. It's really nice.
It fit in more than Beaches and Cream?
I mean, I don't know.
Wait, is this at the boardwalk?
Yeah. It was pretty. It was like real centralized on the boardwalk, right by the boardwalk.
I've been here then. So I can say I've been here. So there. How's that? I forgot about it. It was so good I forgot about it, Tom.
Well, this place was famous too because I think it was Bob Iger at one point walked into their one and only location, I think, in New York one time and had it, and it was really good, and then somehow got them to open up a location at Disney, but they actually filed for bankruptcy before the shutdown happened. So
I am a little sad because again, while the ice cream wasn't necessarily all that, is there going to be an ice cream place on the boardwalk? Because if there's not,
no,
that's hurtful.
No, there's no ice cream place on the boardwalk now. That's what I'm saying.
So I can at least get on board with that, being upset about that. I can't be upset about the ice cream itself.
Because for me, like the style of it and it the whole area of the boardwalk.
It's expensive too, but I guess everything is expensive there. Yeah, I can't really complain too much about that. I mean, it was okay.
They had really good flavors, man. I'm telling you, and they had special flavors too. They had they Disney special flavors.
But I'm just sad that there's no ice cream place on the boardwalk. That's just like not a boardwalk then.
I agree with you.
I think whatever happens after things open back up, whoever goes in there to fill that gap, if they can bring in some plant-based ice cream or, non-dairy ice cream, because that's actually a thing now I've been finding out. If they can start offering non-dairy options, then I'll be excited. But as it stands right now, it's, you tell me any ice cream shop closes and I'm kind of like, okay, great. I wasn't going there anyway. So,
man. See, this is our problem. We're stuck on ice cream and now we're already past our time already.
No, we're almost done though. We're almost done here.
No, we're not. The rumor section is huge.
You want to talk? Okay, well, let's talk about that then.
I mean, huge in terms of like not long, but like awesomeness.
Yeah, so
talk about Run Disney. Don't disrespect the Run Disney people, Tom. Okay. See, this is the problem. You have to do a better job at.
Okay, but hold on though. So we had 2 weeks of stuff we had to cover. Going forward, we're only going to have 1 week of stuff we need to cover.
That's
so it'll be much easier to condense things down. So I really tried to pick things that I thought were interesting to talk about now. So
you have to talk about Run Disney, otherwise our Run Disney people get mad, and we know there's a lot of them.
There are a lot of them, yeah. So Run Disney, essentially the rest, I guess the Wine and Dine half marathon is going to a virtual race, which I think, the last time we talked about Run Disney, did we talk about virtual races and how we don't understand them?
Mm-hmm. I would cheat. I would be the problem.
You would cheat?
Yeah, that's the problem.
Well, how do you prove that you did it?
I would just get a scooter. I would scoot. It'd be like I'd be on a not like an electric scooter, like a push scooter. Like I'd be on like a Razor. That's
David
what I would
set
do.
a new record.
On a treadmill?
Set a new record by going 20 miles per hour
on a Razor scooter.
on a treadmill. You just have the Razor on a treadmill.
No. I would actually go out and like go through like the motions of Razor scootering, a path. But no, I would be on a Razor scooter. I do that with my dog. Like when I have to walk the dog, I was like, oh, dude, I don't want to walk the dog. I get a Razor scooter and then the dog has to run while I scoot around the neighborhood. Good for everybody.
Oh, that's funny. I mean, I think everyone kind of assumed it was going to go this way, but it's, is it really the Wine and Dine half marathon if you're not getting to do the whining and dining part?
No.
So you virtually race and then you order food and drink wine.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that could sound just like any other Tuesday night. So I don't know.
I agree. Because I feel like that was a big part of the appeal, right? And Run Disney people talk to us and let us know what you think about this. But it's the big part of the appeal is the wine and dine part of the marathon. So of the half marathon afterwards, as your reward for running it. That's what I would want to do anyway. But I mean, it's good that they're still doing it though.
Rumors.
What? Okay, let's do rumors. Let's talk rumors.
Yeah,
Damon, you want to talk about this since you're excited about it?
I mean, I guess so. Right? No, not really. I'll let you talk about it. I like to let you get through the boring stuff, and then I just get to.
You like for me to go through the content part, and then
because I get less interested halfway through when I start talking about the content. I just want to talk about it.
So there's a rumor out there that, and this is because a book came out called the Star Wars Galaxy Edge Traveler's Guide, and so this book goes into detail about local holidays in Batuu, Black Spire Day, Harvest Festival, and Life Day. So now the rumor is that because they put this in the Traveler's Guide, that these could possibly be events that could occur at Galaxy's Edge, that they could, do these special events. And so the three events would be Black Spire Day, which would celebrate the founding of Black Spire Outpost and take place on May 4th. Then there's the Batuuan, I think I said that right, Batuuan Harvest Festival, celebrating the natural resources that grow in Batuu. And that's kind of being pitched almost here as almost like a food and wine in Galaxy's Edge, local foods and seasonal decorations and all that kind of fun stuff. And then there's Life Day, which is cracking me up because it's a reference to the 1978 Star Wars holiday special, where we learned how those in the Star Wars universe celebrated the season with Life Day, which is a Wookiee holiday. Have you guys ever watched the Star Wars holiday special? Because you can watch it on YouTube.
This just sounds so awesome. Like, I really hope that this is the case.
I want Life Day.
I want all of them, because I think that, it's such a large part, like a large part of the park. And I feel like having these special events would definitely make it feel more real. Right? I mean, that's the way I feel. Like, the land would feel more robust. Like, it would be cool. Like, this would be really, really cool. The only problem I kind of see with this is that, man, we know the amount of people that would want to get in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Epcot's huge, right? This is not Epcot level space. So what do you do when you have something like this? I think that's the problem. I mean, you'd almost have to make it. I don't know. I don't know. This is where I worry.
I guess the good thing is because there is, it's on both coasts. Like they have it in two different spaces.
Well, I don't think that matters. Trevor, right now, do you want to go to these?
I do, but
Tom, do you want to go to them?
Oh yeah, definitely. I would want to go to both.
I definitely want to. Like, there's no one going, maybe I don't want to go. Like, everyone's going to want to go.
But I would consider going to California to experience one of these versus going to Florida, because for me, I'm far enough in between that's an option, right?
Sure, but what difference does that make? I mean, you're talking the amount of people is ridiculous that would want to do this.
I mean, I think they're pretty good at crowd control. I do think that they would maybe need to utilize some new areas. I mean, because they do have room for expansion, at least at the Disney World area. So maybe they expand and make the land even bigger, and then have some more room for
this. Pandora is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so now you're going to add a Pandora food and wine, Avatar food and wine. What the heck do you think is going to happen?
It's going to be a nightmare. They're going to have to do what they did when it first opened, where they just the same thing with Galaxy's Edge, where they had the virtual queue just to get into the land. They would do that.
That would work. But I think that this sounds phenomenal. But man, from a rumor standpoint, I just don't think the logistics work. But I'm hopeful.
Unless they do the virtual queue. I mean, if they do the virtual queue like they've done before, I could see it working. A lot of mad
people though, because you're talking about a single day. You're not even talking like, you can go to Life Day 10 times. You're going, okay, this random day. First of all, I'd never want to be in Hollywood Studios any three of those days.
Okay, but the Harvest Festival could last. You could have that last over like 2 months. Black Spire Day and Life Day, I'm not as excited about those two as I would be about the Harvest Festival. And it seems like I don't know.
Wookiee cookies?
Like, yeah.
How are you not excited for Wookiee cookies? Like Christmas cookies, Wookiee cookies. How can you not be excited for Wookiee?
Yeah, Wookiee cookies. Yeah,
I want cookies.
I'm not against Wookiee cookies.
So here's a thought: what if they turn this into a ticketed event, like the Christmas or Halloween parties?
Okay.
Ooh, how about this? How about if it's only for people staying in the hotel? Boom. Done. It's
only for DVC members. Boom.
No. Staying at the Star Wars hotel.
Only at the Star Wars hotel.
Only at the Star Wars hotel.
That's interesting. Or maybe they celebrate it on your ship, and then you're gonna, and maybe there's events at night for people in the hotel. Okay, all right. That's. I mean, I would hate that because then I'd have to go and do the ships just so I could do.
Oh, I'm definitely doing the ship.
They're still building the ship, so with all the
That's
cuts
good.
across the parks, that is still being done. I mean, it's
Good. I already got my money ready. I have a special bank account just for that.
just for Star Wars Hotel.
Just for Star Wars
It
Hotel.
says Star Wars bank account right on the.
Well, I mean,
on his-
I haven't
on my
named
bank.
it that, but I guess I could.
Yeah.
But then the bankers would probably be like, oh, this nerd, what's he doing over there? Star Wars Hotel bank account.
Oh, I think this is a cool idea. I do hope they do it. It does seem like it would be kind of an odd thing to put in the Traveler's Guide if they weren't going to do it. You know?
Yeah, I don't know about that. Have you ever, see, Tom, you're not into video games so much. Have you ever seen any video game guides and you're like, wait a second, that didn't make it in. Wait, that didn't make it in. Wait, that doesn't work.
Goodness, when you,
No, I know.
Lore and backstory is a very deep hole that,
Yes.
yeah, lots of things can happen that don't flesh out. Trust me.
But I could understand if this was like released in the very beginning when Galaxy's Edge first opened, but this is, now, when did it even open? It's been a year already, right? So wasn't it August last year?
It just could be background, though. Could just be lore.
It could just be. It very well could be, but I think it would be cool if they did it.
And books do take a while to, get published and stuff. Yeah. So, yeah, it could be that maybe they just didn't have it ready when the land opened.
All right, Trevor, you got to wrap us up. We're going to keep it under an hour. We're going to do it.
All right. Okay.
Look, we're going to do this. It's going to shock our longtime listeners. They're going to stay under an hour.
Okay. Here we go. If you guys have any questions, comments, if you want to reach out to us, you can find us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from you guys. We love getting your listener questions. If you want to check out the website, it's welcomehomepodcast.com. Damon,
Yeah, see, this should just be like, this is what it should be. Okay, wrap up. Okay, mention social media. Come to the Facebook group. There is nothing else. Done.
All right.
Oh, if you want to buy stuff, store it at welcomehomepodcast.com. There we go. I just wrapped that whole section up.
Okay, fine. Yeah, if you want to talk to
If
us on
Tom
Facebook,
puts Twitter, Instagram on there again, we're just going to fire him. That's it.
All right. Well, do you want to talk about reviews at least in the YouTube channel and the store?
yeah, if you guys found us via iTunes or Spotify, one of those, leave us a review. We like seeing those. We like the feedback, and it also helps other people find the podcast. If you want some merch, go to store.welcomehomepodcast.com and maybe buy a shirt or a mug or something like that, because why not?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Rep the show wherever you go. Right. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you get reminded every time we release a new episode, which is going to be especially important now that we're moving weekly. You'll want to definitely be subscribed so you can see all these episodes come out every week. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, just about any place you can find podcasts. You can find us. So just search for Welcome Home and look for the one that says DVC and Disney. Of course, a reminder to our listeners, as always, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company, and as such, any and all opinions we express on this show are our own. So please contact a Disney cast member or a DVC representative for more information about anything we talked about today.
Or a psychologist if you have questions like Dan.
yeah. Dan, maybe you should call somebody else besides us. We're not. This is. We're not experts. Go ahead, Trevor.
We're okay. We're not. We're not
expert
parents by any means.
Big thank you to the DVC rental store for sponsoring this episode. We really appreciate your partnership. Please reach out to them. Join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
We do a huddle when we hit a chair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl.